I remember the night I stopped pretending everything was fine. The house was silent except for the soft hum of the ceiling fan, slicing the dark into even pieces. My wife was asleep beside me, peaceful, unaware, or pretending to be. Down the hall, her sister's door creaked open. Again. It wasn't the first time. At first, I thought it was my imagination. She'd moved in 6 months earlier after her breakup, supposedly just until she got back on her feet. I agreed because that's what family does, or so I believed. But soon, small things began to feel wrong. My son's door would be cracked open in the morning. He'd seem distant, withdrawn. My wife's sister, Lena, started sleeping in later, always with that faint smirk like she knew something I didn't. She'd linger around me too long in the kitchen. Her eyes, too confident, too curious. Still, I said nothing. Not until that night. I heard her door again. Soft steps. The sound of her bare feet brushing against the hallway rug. Then, my son's door. A faint click. My hand trembled around the phone. I stared into the dark and something inside me shifted. Doubt turned to ice. The next morning, I set up a camera in my son's room, hidden behind a bookshelf. I told myself it was to protect him, to protect us. But deep down, I wanted the truth, no matter how ugly it was. When I played the footage the next day, my chest tightened. At first, it was just her sitting at the edge of his bed, talking, laughing. Nothing that crossed a line, until it did. Her hand brushed his hair, then his cheek. The way she looked at him, it wasn't sisterly, it wasn't human. And my son, confused, still young, didn't know how to react. She'd made him trust her, manipulated him in my own home. That night, I sat in my car for hours, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. Rage didn't consume me, it sharpened me. I didn't shout, didn't confront, I planned. Because revenge isn't loud, it's precise. I started by being kinder, to both of them. I needed them comfortable, predictable. I upgraded Lena's room, offered to pay her a few months of rent once she moved out. She thanked me, unaware she was signing her own ruin. I made copies of the footage, stored them in 3 separate locations. I contacted a friend in law enforcement, quietly, told him I suspected something, without showing too much. Then came the real move. I took my wife out to dinner one night, told her I'd been worried about her sister's behavior. She dismissed it, called me paranoid. That was expected. So I told her I had proof, but that I wanted her to see it herself. The next evening, while Lena was out, I placed my laptop on the dining table, pressed play. My wife didn't move for the first 2 minutes. Her hand trembled as she watched the third. By the fourth, she covered her mouth. She wouldn't. She did. I let the silence do the rest. When Lena returned, my wife confronted her. I stayed in the background, calm, watching, observing. Lena's face twisted when she realized what we knew. Denial first, then anger, then fear. She screamed, said it was just a game, that nothing happened. But the footage spoke louder than her lies. I didn't shout. I didn't touch her. I simply handed her a folder, copies of the evidence, a written statement for the police, and a note with her new address, a cheap motel across town. She left that night. My wife followed her 2 weeks later. The betrayal ran too deep. She said she couldn't live in that house anymore. Too many ghosts, too much guilt. I didn't argue. I just nodded. Because by then, my plan had one more step. I sent the footage to her parents, her friends, her employer, every person who once pitied her. I didn't ruin her reputation. She did that herself. I just let the truth breathe. Now the house is quiet again. My son sleeps peacefully. I walk the same hallway at night, past the closed doors, past the memories, past the ruin she left behind. Sometimes I stand by her old room. The smell of her perfume still lingers faintly, sweet and venomous. I let it remind me of what happens when trust becomes blindness. Do I regret it? No. Revenge isn't about satisfaction. It's about restoration. It's about taking back what someone thought they could corrupt and reminding them there's a cost for crossing quiet men. I don't dream about her anymore, but every night when the house goes still, I think of that first sound, the creak of her door, and the man I became because of it. Calm, patient, and no longer blind. She walked into my son's room every night. I just made sure the last time she walked out, it was for good.